Okay, we all ready to start?
Yeah, I haven't done one of these in years, but let's see how it goes.
Welcome to the Valley. My name is Sami. We have...
Ash Medica.
Hi, I'm Matthew. You may be aware of me from behind the camera in one of the vlogs.
I think so.
When we were walking around the community garden. Was that one uploaded?
I don't know if I used that footage or not.
Aww.
You may know me in the future.
Yes, yeah. Or you may know him from right now.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Today I thought we could just sit down and talk about a big passion of all of ours, musical theatre.
Yes! Pumped!
So Matt does a lot of... We met Matt through musical theatre, I met Ash through musical theatre, Ash met me through musical theatre, and Matt met me through musical theatre.
We all met through musical theatre.
I think that's been pretty heavily covered now.
Yeah, musical theatre who?
Oh, but Sammy, you're not a theatre person.
I'm not a theatre person, no. Well, we'll get into that in a second, I guess. We'll kind of go around and explain like how we got into musical. Do you want to start?
Yeah, alright, so how I got into musical theatre. So in grade 6, which I don't even want to think about when that was. No, grade 5, which is even worse. So my primary school did these like grade 5, 6 productions, and I always knew before then that I wanted to perform in some aspect. Like, you know, kid dream, I wanted to be a movie star. That's been going great, apparently. So, there's one for the tally. So, I started off doing this, like, random show that probably nobody's ever heard of, because it's one of those ones that schools just randomly license. From there, my family reached out to try and find me a vocal coach, and sort of completely snowballed from there. So I've done, through school, I've done some like straight plays, but I've mainly been involved with musical theatre. So for about, oh god, a long time.
That's a long time.
So, so yeah, it's basically been from school shows to amateur community theatre to some more bigger named amateur community theatre. I had a sort of 3-year hiatus because of university, but I'm back in on it all now.
Yeah, hell yeah. Ash,
Oh
tell
no.
us your musical theatre
Okay.
journey.
Hey guys. I played in my first musical when I was in year 12. And basically, I got into this. It was Wicked with Warwick Theatre Company, which is actually like the best friggin' show ever. Basically, my one of the music teachers at my school, the drum teacher, Pete Brown, he was playing in the show already, so I was literally like, I'm really interested in playing in the show, and then Pete, like, messaged us. Okay, I need
You're up
to
to
talk
2,
properly.
it's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about the
Okay, so basically Pete Brown just like said to David Williams, the musical director, that I was interested. So that is how I got into my first show. And then I totally just like fell like into musical theatre after high school. It was the only thing that I wanted to do. So it like gave me something to do after high school, which was really good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Sammy!
Hello.
How did you get into musical theatre?
I keep just like shouting at me like, how did you get into musical theatre? Tell us now.
Oh, there we go.
I got into musical theatre completely, I guess, accidentally in many ways. I remember I was in primary school and we had like productions every second year that the grade 5s and 6s were only allowed to do. So I was in grade 5 and I auditioned for the school production and I got in, but I didn't want to sing, right?
Really?
You're kidding.
Yes, because at that age I was only ever singing in the shower. And I was like, I have an amazing voice, but like I don't want anyone to know that I have an amazing voice, right? I was that bitch. And so only ever sang in the shower, didn't sing to anyone else. and I auditioned for the school musical. It was like a talent show style musical where it was like an actual show, but it was like the whole idea was that we had a panel of judges, like student judges, who were judging these acts who would perform, right? And there was like comedy and stuff. And I said, I don't want to sing, I'll be a mime, right? I'll just mime stuff, so I don't have to sing or talk, I'll just mime. And on our second rehearsal, the teacher was like, hey Sami, sing Happy Birthday in front of everyone, or Twinkle Twinkle, I think it was Happy Birthday or something like that. Sing in front of everyone. And I was like, no. And they were like, you have to sing. And I was like, I don't want to. And they were like, too bad, you have to. So they made me sing Happy Birthday in front of everyone, but then as soon as I finished, I was really nervous, and as soon as I finished, they were like, that wasn't good enough, do it again, but properly. And so I did it again. I think I did it about 4 or 5 times. I just kept singing it to the point where I was like, I don't want to be here anymore, and so the next rehearsal I dropped out.
Ah!
Yeah. And then in high school, I did drama class, really enjoyed it, and then my school did Sweeney Todd. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll audition for that. I love Johnny Depp. I love the movie. I'll audition for that. And I got in as Beetle Bamford. And I think that's sort of the way I started doing musical theatre. And then I did, obviously, through year 12. Accidentally fell into it outside of high school because they're always looking for male vocalists. So, yeah, that's how I kind of dived into it all.
Wow!
Your description of your like grade 5, 6 show gave me really sort of odd flashbacks. Before you said it was... Or before you expanded on it and said it was more like just a general talent show. So the plot of that like grade 5 show that got me into theatre was like a rip-off of Australian Idol.
Oh my god.
So like you had students who were playing a panel of judges, but other students were like the performers coming in who would sing to try and get onto this like young Australian Idol thing.
It most definitely could have been the same show. I think it was like, yeah, it was like there was singing in it, obviously, but I was like, oh, I'll just mime. But that wasn't good enough, so I don't know, but
it was a really ridiculous plot.
Yeah, I don't even, like, again, I only made it to 2 rehearsals, but then when I turned them down, and I was, well, not even turned them down, I just said, hey, I don't want to be here anymore, because they were like, you can't pull out da-da-da, and then my mum had a chat to this teacher, and was like, oh, Sam doesn't want to do this anymore. And so the teacher walks up to me and goes, so I heard you don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, yep. And then she goes, okay, bye.
Oh, okay.
And like, just tells me to go off, and I was like, okay, thank you, bye. Just kind of waved and walked off, and that was the end of that. And then, but nowadays, I'm like black mold, you can't get rid of me.
Or it's the other side of things which you would be dealing with this as well, but you're more active in jumping into these roles because there's not a lot of males in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Theatre companies will like reach out to you and be like, hey, we need more guys for the show. Can you come in and audition for us?
I've had that happen a lot. It happened with Rent a couple of years ago, but I had to say no to that one because life wasn't happening at that moment in time. But yeah, it's happened with quite a lot of shows over the last couple of years, but I think it has happened less because I've started auditioning for so many different shows. So, yeah. Ash, what has been a highlight musical moment for you in your career over the last year?
Okay, my favorite, okay, cut that out, okay.
It's podcast style, it all stays in.
Oh my god.
This'll all stay in.
Oh, okay. What was my favourite moment? My favourite musical theatre moment was the closing night of Les Mis, and it was a massive, massive series of events that made it my favourite night ever. Basically, after we finished our final show, I was hanging back in the pit because I had to put all my shiz away, and then David Williams was hanging back in the pit too. He was like putting all the music stand lights away. So he literally just was... I thanked him for letting me be in the orchestra, and then he totally just like said that I'm like an awesome musician, and he said that, yeah, stuff like that. And then after that, I ran out because I heard your voice up the stairs. So I after David said that to me, I like turned away and I had tears in my eyes. So then I heard Sami coming up the stairs, and I just gave him a massive hug and I started crying, and then we went into the foyer.
I'll just pause there. But I
Yes.
remember coming up the stairs and then like the door for the orchestra pit was kind of opened, and I just remember coming up the stairs and seeing you, and I was like, oh my god! And then you were like, you know, came in for a hug, and then I hugged you, and then you backed away, and you just like started crying. And then I was like, oh my god, are you okay? Like, what do I do? And gave you another hug, and you're like, this is just the best thing ever. I was like, oh, Ash.
And then we had an awards night. We had an awards thing in the foyer after the final show. And they gave me a card for being rehearsal pianist. And I started crying in front of everyone. That was another of my favourite moments. And also, David Williams gave me a hug, and he called me a star. And that is my favourite musical moment. The whole evening was just so special. So, yeah.
It was a pretty good night, I will say, for such an awful production season. Like, I'm not bad-mouthing anyone here. It was just really tough because COVID hit us pretty hard. There were just not enough... we needed, like, assistance on different areas of the production team, I felt, because it is such a massive show, and I feel like we just needed a bit more support from those other roles outside of the actual cast itself. So again, like, everyone worked really hard and we got the show up and running and that kind of thing, but it was a really tricky, difficult production season because of so many difficulties with COVID and with just short-staffed everywhere. So but we did get through it, which was excellent, and I honestly can't believe we got through it positively, you know what I mean? Like, when we were on stage actually doing the show, I was like, we're here, we're doing it, this feels great. The production season was really tricky sometimes, though, I felt. But you were just, like, vibing the whole time, you loved it.
I fucking loved it the whole time. I did not have to be an actor, so I was just observing on the outside.
Yeah, you were torment free. No, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Now I can say that I've done Les Mis, so...
Hey, me too!
Yep. Have you had any difficult experiences with your theatre journeys thus far?
Difficult experiences?
Again, not bad-mouthing anyone, just like rocky patches or anything?
There was one junior show that I did that I had some issues with the MD, to say the least. He is a very talented MD, because I'm not going to name names. He, from the one time I've worked with him, he seems to know what he's doing and how he wants things. But when you've got a group of like 12-year-olds who are first learning a song, and he says to you all, God, guys, I need you to sing happier, the way you're singing makes me want to kill myself, it kind of puts you off that company for a little while.
Yeah, what I will say is, like, even though we are amateur theatre people, you still need to hold yourself with like a manner of professionalism and respect for everyone, and like you'll still find that kind of language in the workplace, which is unfortunate, but like I think professionalism is less like wearing a suit and tie and rocking up on time. It's a lot more like basic respect and kind of thinking not just like within that company but also what people have outside the company, and like it's more encouragement, professionalism, making sure everyone's feeling comfortable rather than like I'm the boss and you're going to follow what I say. I think that's why I'm always harking on about professionalism, because you can find it everywhere, even if you're not getting paid. It's a very important thing, especially in the creative industry, because if you don't have it, then like we're all just going to be monkeys at the zoo.
And like the thing with professionalism, professionalism in amateur theatre is it's not an issue of, or sometimes it's an issue of professionalism of character, but like we're in amateur theatre. You're not gonna go to your production run by a local school at their gymnasium and expect to see Broadway level quality. So you need to understand that there's some difference in experience, some difference in levels, and just making sure that you're treating everyone fairly.
And the other thing too about amateur theatre, like obviously professionals love what they do because they wouldn't be doing it if they didn't love it, but amateur theatre, like, you're guaranteed that these people want to be here. Like, if you didn't want to be here, you don't have to be here. You can leave. You're not getting paid. You're not in a contract. You can just fuck off. You know what I mean? But, like, a lot of people don't because, you know, they want to be here. Anything you want to add on that? That's it?
I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy trying to burst out laughing.
Ash is like, professionalism, I'm out. What's that? No, I think you were very professional all the way through Les Mis. Like, you're still very new to all this, but like, you just have a lot of respect for everyone, and you have a lot of love for musical theatre and its performers. So I think you kind of handle yourself, even though you are quite young and not so much inexperienced, but very new to all this. You handle yourself with a professionalism and an ease that I think seasoned professionals can learn a lot from.
Thank you, Sam.
I can add on to that if you like. The only time that I have worked with Ash thus far has been with a company that's just like getting its footing at the moment. I'm not sure if we are like saying names of companies. Okay.
For a second, I was like, "What company have you worked with?" And I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
Ghostlight."
Oh, Ghostlight!
So the only time that I've worked with Ash at the moment, we're waiting for American Idiot to get back off the ground. But so when that happens, I'll be working with Ash again. But in the meantime, it's only been with Ghostlight, and that environment, though professional, was still open, and you were able to have a joke around. And that was something that I really enjoyed with Ghostlight and enjoyed with having you as our rehearsal pianist, because if you hit the wrong note, we were all able to have a laugh about it, and it wasn't like an attack on anyone or anything. We were all just there to have a good time, to support each other, and to make sure that we were all putting in to make this one brilliant thing.
And I think because Ghostlight are a startup sort of theatre company too, Oliver. Because Ghostlight are a startup theatre company, they're very brand new to all this. I think they had a lot more lenience for like, oh, you missed a note, oh, we'll just laugh about it, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Because, like, not that it matters at the end of the day, like, you got there and we learnt the songs and it was all great and fun and fantastic. But I think, yeah, going in and being like, oh, you didn't get this one note out of 10, like, how dare you? That's a really bad mindset to have. Like, everyone makes mistakes, even if you've been playing for 2 years or 20 years. It's more just like, oh, you made a mistake, haha, let's move on. You know what I mean? Like, that's, again, professionalism, just kind of making sure everyone's comfortable, respected, and that kind of thing as well, so.
Thank you. I hope to have slightly more experience now because I'm doing Priscilla, and, like, I actually had this one rehearsal where I felt like I was really good.
Oh.
I felt like I was actually proud of myself.
This is just turning into the complimenting Ash. It's just like, you, Ash, you're great, oh my god.
Thanks. I think I'm better.
That's why she's on a pedestal, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Thanks.
Love
being in the middle.
Like, personally, I've seen your first show to now, you've grown so much within the last year, and I think it's absolutely fantastic, so.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much, guys.
Tell me about your biggest fumble on stage.
Oh!
my biggest...
Have you had one?
I think I've had a few. I'm trying to remember. There's one key one that I can remember. It was my very first sort of performance with my vocal coach. So she would have these like end of year concerts to show families what everyone had been working on. I've got a few from concerts like this, I've just realised. So my very first concert, I'm singing Where Is Love from Oliver. And it gets to the start of the second verse, and I just completely forget the lyrics. So little, 12-year-old me is just on stage singing my heart out, and then I just blank and stare into the wings where my vocal coach is, and I'm just staring deer in the headlights, what do I do?
Aww.
But I picked myself back up and I was able to find where I was meant to be and keep going. There was another year for one of those concerts where I'd just come back from a school camp the day before.
Oh no.
And I was so exhausted, and we get to the last section of the concert where we're all like, it was always like a Christmas concert, so we're all singing these carols with these books open, and my parents who were in the audience could just see me turn white as a ghost and just start completely swaying because of how exhausted I was. And me not knowing what to do, like, I could feel that I wasn't feeling okay, but I'm like, well, I can't leave. I'm in the middle of this full choral section. I can't leave. I'll just stick it out to the end, walk off stage, and when I finally get off stage, I basically just collapse and lean against the wall, just like, I am so dead right now.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I've got a story kind of similar to that, but not quite. But I just remembered another one. It's not really musical theatre, but I thought of like performance kind of one. I used to play saxophone when I was in primary school, and regardless of what concert was, my go-to song to perform was Ode to Joy. Nice and simple. I knew it on saxophone really, really well. Da, 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 would play it all the time. It got to one concert and I was like, you know what? I am going to break out of my box. I'm going to perform another song. I'm going to perform this song from Pirates of the Caribbean because I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
Was it He's a Pirate?
Potentially. I think it was.
We'll say yes.
Yeah, we'll say yes. Yeah.
Swag.
And I was like, yep, cool, nailing the song, great, getting it. We had a school performance. I would have been like grade 5. And I remember starting the song, I get about 3 or 4 notes in, I make a mistake. So I was like, oh, that's okay, I'll just go back to the start. Bop, 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 bop. Make another mistake. Okay, that's okay, I'll go back to the start. This happens another 2 or 3 different times. I just keep making a mistake and then go back to the start. Make a mistake, go back to the start again. I just keep doing that, right? And I finally make it all the way through the song. And I finish, and I get off stage, I take my little bow, I walk off stage, and the principal comes up, and she was just like, oh, that's great. And then she made some comment along the lines of like, and it was a very shady comment, very like a little like, something along the lines of like, it's great to see when someone makes a mistake, they just keep going.
Oh.
And I was like, thanks. My other one, that when you were like dizzy and spinning and stuff, I was like, I remember performing at the West Gippsland Arts Centre. I think I just done a week of my Year 12 performance, and then the week after was like the School of Stedford, or like the Gippsland of Stedford. And we were performing at the West Gippsland Arts Centre, and I was playing bass in one band and then drums in another. And I remember being like so sick that week that pretty much, I don't know which band played first, but I remember like playing drums and then being like so sick that I pretty much like jumped off stage, walked off into the wings around the side and just passed out on a couch for about 20 minutes. Like you could not, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything, I was just like passed out. Didn't fumble up though, like I gave it my all, but I was not okay. But yeah. Sorry, I was like,
yeah, no.
That's weird. Same, different story, but yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I can't think of any sort of on-stage ones that have happened to me though. Like I've had cast members who have gotten like rope burn from like pulling, like pretending to pull ropes on the side of the ship.
Yeah.
There was one performance that I was doing like backstage for. Oh my god. Oh, everything's just like opened in my brain. So in that same show, one of our leads like had a seizure.
Whoa!
Like before Act 2 started, and it's the first time I've ever seen a director have to actually. Oh my god, even more that's happened with this guy. So when I was in Legally Blonde, this same actor, he had to like fall backwards, but somebody put a set piece in the wrong spot, so he like hit his head on the back of like a hairdresser's chair. And like had to be checked for a concussion before he could go back on stage.
Oh my god.
And then the next year, when we did Little Mermaid, when all of these people got rope burn from dealing with the ship, he like seized in intermission. Wow. And like we had paramedics in and everything, and it's the first time I've ever had like a director have to jump into a role and fill in for an actor who couldn't make it. And then the year after that, I was doing backstage to assist that theatre company. And a kid full on faints. Like they're hidden in a bit of a set piece because they're about to jump out and do a song. And he just back onto the stage, and we had to pause the full performance, and the mums like backstage, because like there was junior members in the cast, so parents were allowed backstage, and everyone in sort of like props sets, I can't remember the actual name for it, but like everybody who's like everyone who's moving all the set pieces
the crew.
Backstage crew, yes!
Everyone in crew is just standing around like, what's going on? What's just happened? And I'm just hearing this mother scream from behind me like, oh my god, is he dead? They've killed my baby! And I'm just like, what? And I'm just like, what the hell is going on?
Oh my god!
So,
That's so chaotic.
there's been a lot of things that have happened in theatre around me, but it's never been me. So I think I'm a bit lucky in that sense.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you some of my other stories. Yep. Next episode!
This can't be all that we do today.
No, we're going to do another one.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. See you next episode.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.